ChatGPT 4.5 dropped today, like an hour or so ago. And we're going to talk about the strategy because a lot of people are confused. And frankly, they're confused for good reason. To start with, 4.5 is expensive. And I can put dollars on that because they price it per million tokens. Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which is another model that dropped very recently, it dropped like 3 days ago. It comes in at an output cost of $15 per million tokens and an input cost, like sending something in, at $3 per million tokens. By comparison, ChatGPT 4.5, which dropped today, output cost is 10 times more, $150 per million tokens. The input cost is $75 per million token, which is vastly higher than $3. It's huge. The input cost is 25 times more. The higher computational costs are real. It's so real that Sam Altman could not release this to anyone except Pro plan users right now. Plus is going to have to wait. Apparently, they're adding tens of thousands of GPUs, which makes it really funny that NVIDIA fell like 8 or 10% or whatever it was today, because like he's literally talking about how much compute he has to add to serve this model. And people are like, why would you put all this work in to a more expensive model when it doesn't reason? Because O1 Pro reasons, O3 reasons, Claude 3.7 Sonnet is this hybridized model. It reasons, it doesn't reason, depending on what you need. It's focused on code, which is a high value use case. I'll tell you why. The play here is a Lego block play. ChatGPT is a market leader. It is not a challenger. Claude is a challenger. Claude needs to specialize. Claude is specializing in code. ChatGPT is a market leader and needs to cover all the bases to lead the market. That means they cannot just produce deep research. They cannot just produce O1 Pro for inference and win. They have to produce a model that does everything to earn the user base they have, which is the only user base in the hundreds of millions. They're the only ones. And so they have to do everything well. And what this is designed to do well is nuanced stuff that isn't captured on benchmarks, but which ChatGPT thinks is a long-term building block to their success. They are highlighting emotional intelligence. They are highlighting nuanced writing style, the ability to surprise you. These are things that don't show up in an AI-ME eval, but they do show up in real-world interactions for users. And the long-term bet is that they can bring the compute cost down. They can hybridize this with the other models that they already have in the stable, and they can produce a GPT-5 by Q2 that has emotional intelligence built in, thanks 4.5, and has the other pieces as well, has the reasoning piece, has all of this other stuff. And so if you're judging 4.5 by what is released today, you are probably not judging it correctly. You need to look at ChatGPT 4.5 as the last Lego block in place to build something that is much more compelling and sticky as a customer experience for ChatGPT long term. And so ChatGPT 5, 6, 7, whatever that's going to be, is dependent on getting these complex primitives right. And arguably from the compute cost, emotional intelligence, nuance, and the ability to surprise you is extremely compute intensive. And that doesn't really shock me. These seem like really hard things for a machine to do. If a machine can do this very well, that's a really big deal. That is genuinely novel. That is an achievement that is really significant, even if it's hard to measure. And so that is what Sam is doing with GPT 4.5. It exemplifies yet again why it's important to have real-world evaluations and real-world conversations about performance and capabilities, because these benchmarks are just not good enough. These benchmarks don't tell us these things. And so we're going to have to all get used to this. Another good example is Claude 3.7. People are talking about the fact that it is built to be more opinionated with code. That is a design decision. It is a design decision that does not show up on evals, but it's really important. And you can disagree with it. You can say you want a more malleable model and you really want to use 3.5 Sonnet. Or you can agree with it and say, I like the structure this provides. I like that it insists on a particular sort of way of building code. And I think that that helps me to build quicker because the scaffolding is in place. You can have opinions, but you need to know what the model does to have those opinions. And we do not have, other than like digging in and talking about it in places like this, good ways to do that. We need better evals. Anyway, that's GPT 4.5. That's the strategy. That's what's coming. You try it out if you're in the Pro plan and let me know. It's only in the Pro plan right now. It's coming to the Plus plan next week. Cheers.